I think that's a good segue into our final segment here, which is coaches on the hot seat in 2025 from Europe. I did send you guys the 3 tiers that I made up for this one. The first tier being the fire department is outside. So there's already been a fire. Something is on fire. The firemen have been alerted and they're just waiting to bust the door down and put out the flame. Tier number 2, outdoor workout in the summertime. And I meant Texas summertime specifically. I don't know what the summer's like.
Humidity.
In Finland, it's probably still quite nice. But in Texas, it's very brutal. So these guys are sweating. These guys are sweating pretty hard. If they have a Gatorade nearby, this is not a sponsored video, or some other electrolyte drink, they might be okay, but got to watch out. And then the third tier, chilling in the jacuzzi. It's hot. It's warm. But as long as you don't stay in for too long, you're going to be okay. And it sounds like we're going to put Pixie from Serbia in the fire department is outside tier.
Yeah, that's where he should be. But the FA still seem to not have panic mode on. But who knows how this one will go down? Maybe they'll finally open their eyes. Or he'll lose work.
Do you think Isak, if he loses to Albania in June, do you think he's screwed then?
No. If he can still put off a result in Belgrade, which is their second time they're facing each other, things are, still in the air, but I don't think he'll get a sack if they lose to Albania. I don't know. Obviously, I wouldn't know, but
yeah,
just based off of Serbia having so much trust in him already, I don't think they let him go that soon. Obviously, that would be one of their most devastating defeats in history, worse than getting knocked out to Switzerland in the World Cup. But yeah, I still think they'd trust him at least one more time. But if he can't do it in Belgrade, he's out. Probably.
ASAP.
Yeah.
I feel like if he's not getting results against England in the meantime and loses to Albania, I mean, he should be sacked at that point. If he can't take points from the English and he loses to Albania, he has to be sacked. I don't know what the FA is going to do because they obviously like him. But unless he I'll say it like this. If he beats England and then loses to Albania away from home, I think he's okay.
Oh, yeah,
but if he loses both, or God forbid Albania do the double, I mean, he has to be gone.
Yeah,
he absolutely has to be gone.
I mean, he survived a 2-2 draw with Bulgaria at home. So this guy is now indefensible. He's got all the shields. He's got all the armory. Like, this guy can survive anything. But I wonder if losing twice to Albania is the final straw. And that's now the nail in the coffin for Pixie as manager.
Maybe he's actually the safest coach in Europe.
Maybe. He might be, actually, to be fair. If he can survive that, if he can survive a 2-2 draw with Bulgaria, I think he can survive anything.
His tenure is not linked to performance.
Nope.
Doesn't matter what he does.
He's a legendary player, like Isak talked about. He's a legendary player, but as a manager, great beginning, and now it's just terrible football.
Do you think the World Cup or the Euro was more of a bottle chop?
The World Cup.
The World Cup one. I think Serbia's also just the morale in the team. I had the highest hopes in Serbia to be some kind of underdog.
Yep.
And they, like Michael talked about, that Cameroon match was such a letdown. And then they built up that rivalry against Switzerland. They hyped themselves up. It was an incredible match, but they let the emotions get to them. I mean, like Michael talked about also, Switzerland has a lot of ethnic Albanians and Kosovos. So they were, he even saw Pixie let loose. There was some clip of him where he got exposed. Like when you look at the voiceover, he was cursing at the Albanians. So, I can't even imagine how he's going to be in this one. But if he lets the emotions loose against Albania this time around, they're cooked.
He's like, you were at that Serbia-Switzerland game, right? The World Cup?
Oh, I was, God. Yeah.
What a lucky man.
The players were as mental as the fans, honestly. Literally a fight broke out at the end. Instead of Serbia trying to finish the job, Milinkovic picks up a fight, or I forgot the order of events. It was either Milinkovic-Savic, the goalkeeper, or Milinkovic picking up a fight with Xhaka, and it just all went loose from there.
Jesus. Okay, so it might be already done for this man, should he not get the job done against Albania. What coaches do you think also belong in the tier 1, the fire department? is outside.
Well, I was going to put, and I'm still going to put this manager, Marco Rossi from Hungary, because he's had a very good tenure with Hungary. Like the performances at the Euros, except for the last one, have been very good. The Nations League have gone well, especially that historical victory in England. But you can see now the performances are getting worse and worse. But I did see last week, he just got a contract extension till 2030. So clearly the FA still believe in Marco Rossi. But I don't know if the fans believe in him anymore. And they just got destroyed by Turkey 6-1 on aggregate scoreline. So I don't know if the future for Marco Rossi is looking great for Hungary, but he just got a contract extension. So what do I know? I would say he should be on the hot seat because I feel like Hungary have good players, but they should be performing a lot better. Now, let's see what they do in these World Cup qualifiers. They should be making it to the playoff, but I still feel like Marco Rossi should be on the hot seat.
The hottest of hot? Or like tier 3, maybe?
Tier 2. I would still go tier 2. Sweating.
Tier 2. Sweating
he
outside.
He just did it. He just did 30 minutes on the elliptical machine and should be sweating like crazy.
Okay. He was doing deadlifts, 3-rep max. Okay.
Yep.
Understood. All right. That's pretty intense. Yeah, the Rossi situation is interesting. I didn't have him in a category, but I had next to his name tier 3, chilling in the jacuzzi. Because I feel like it's almost, I'm going to draw a not perfect comparison here between like maybe him and Thomas Christensen with Panama, where it's like he's doing a really good job most of the time. The difference is that Panama, well, they've made finals, right? He's made 2 finals.
It's a hard comparison. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a perfect comparison, but I can't think of like an Asian manager who's doing the same that Rossi's done with Hungary. Like, I don't think you could say Katanic did this with Uzbekistan. He would have had to have like beaten Qatar the last day.
Probably Amuta with Jordan. If he started getting worse results with Jordan, if he was still the manager, would there be the hot seat on him?
Based on how every Middle Eastern team has fired their manager, yes, he would be gone. If the trend's going to continue, he would be sacked. Even though he shouldn't be, they would sack him and hire Claudio Ranieri or something. I don't even know what's going on with Saudi Arabia and Qatar getting Lopetegui. Anyways, this is a UEFA video. But yeah, I think that's kind of like the similar comparison where if you think Hungary can be better, he's got to be on a tier. Rossi has to be on one of these tiers. If you think that he's squeezing every drop of juice out of the lemon, then he probably shouldn't be here. And that sounds like that's what the FA thinks. Would you have him on a tier, Isak?
Sorry, go ahead.
Are we talking about an additional manager?
No, Marco Rossi.
Oh, I 100% agree on the situation. I think this is his final straw. Well, to a degree, yeah. But like with that Euro exit after many people hyped them up to be underdogs, I think that pressure is on that he needs to at least make it to the playoffs. If Ireland get the best, like it's done.
Oh, it's done at that point, yeah. Okay. Interesting. We got another name? Another manager we want to throw on any of these tiers here? Doesn't matter which one.
Maybe Yakin.
Ooh, I love that one.
Really? Even after the Euros?
Break it down. Break it down for us. What's the argument?
I think so. If Switzerland failed to qualify for the World Cup, like still the expectation is there for them because in recent history, they've been qualifying for nearly every one. I don't remember the last time they missed a World Cup now on the top of my head.
The last major competition they missed out was Euro 2012. They've qualified ever since.
Yeah, so
I think
that's immense pressure on him to, even though this group is tough, I think that the FA will kind of be strict on him if he cannot perform here. If he can at least get the playoffs and do it there, I think it's also wraps for him because there's still, like we mentioned earlier, even though he made it so far in the Euros, quarterfinals is incredible, losing on penalties to England, but still that qualifier campaign was a bit too risky in the first place. I think that he's definitely in the hot seat.
Okay. I had him in the chilling in the jacuzzi tier 3. I think.
Yeah. Well, no, sorry. I'll put him at tier 2. Tier 2.
You put him in tier 2?
Yeah.
Deadlift outside?
Yeah.
God, I was going to say a temperature for you guys, but I can't convert to Celsius. What would that be? 32 degrees Celsius is really hot, right?
Ooh, that's hot. Yeah, that's hot.
Yeah.
Okay. 32 degrees Celsius. He's doing body weight squats and frog jumps outside. I think that I think I could see the tier 2. Do we agree that if Switzerland finish second and they qualify, everything's fine? Or do you think he's still at risk that way?
That sounds
Yeah,
like the most Switzerland thing possible to go through the playoffs and qualify for the World Cup. Seems like a normal campaign.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Is he on your tier list, Michael? Would you put him on one of these tiers?
I actually think he's safe. I think he's chilling.
Okay.
So I didn't have him in any of these tier lists. There's one manager, though, that we have not talked about, a national team we haven't talked about at all. And I think this he's tier 2, bordering on tier 1. And that is our dear friend Spalletti with Italy. I think Spalletti, he's under pressure now. After what we saw at the Euros, not great. And I think I agreed with a lot of Italians when they say that round of 16 loss to Switzerland was the worst performance ever from the Azzurri. Worst performance ever. World Cup, Euros, playoffs, it doesn't matter. They were absolutely outplayed and had no heart against Switzerland. Now he's got to get them to the World Cup. Expanded spot after a diabolical Euros. You have the hype. You won Napoli the Scudetto. You need to show up now, Spalletti. No more Di Lorenzo. No more of your favorites. No more Cristante in the midfield. Italy have talent. I think when they missed the World Cup in 2018, people could say they didn't have the talent. I think Italy right now have talented players. They have a good defense, elite midfield. Yes, the attack can improve, but Retegui and Moise Kean are top 2 or top 3 goal scorers in Serie A. So Italy have the talent right now. Spalletti cannot miss the World Cup. I don't care anything about it. Even if they go to the playoffs and lose, immediately sack him, just like you did with Mancini and other managers. So I think Spalletti right now is on tier 2 to tier 1. Mind you, they got embarrassed by Germany. Only the second half saved his ass, because if they got embarrassed 4-0, I think Italians would have want him sacked. So I think Spalletti he's sweating right now. He's doing some runs. He's doing some, you know what? He might be doing the Cooper test right now just to get a sweat on.
Yeah, I bet you the Dutch wish they had the Italian attacking options. They'd be pretty good.
Yeah, Retegui and Moise Kean would start for them. Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, that would be. I mean, thank God they don't. Or I think the Dutch might have.
Because I didn't even go through like the other players they have, like Tonali, Barella, Bastoni, Donnarumma, Buongiorno. Like they have so many good players that now Spalletti has no excuses.
Honestly, even if Italy had a better Euro run, I still think he'd be in as hot of a seat as he's in, because besides winning the trophy, obviously, but like if they progress further than the round of 16 mess, because of history alone, Italy missed 2 World Cups. It would be a massive deal if they missed 3 in a row. Like,
I agree.
It was already inexcusable that they missed 2 in a row. No one saw that coming. So 3 is truly a generational flop.
No, missing 1 is inexcusable. I'm sorry. For Italy with 4 World Cups and 4 stars, missing 1 World Cup is inexcusable. Imagine if Mexico didn't make it to the World Cup 2014. Oh my God, the country would have been in civil war. So imagine the Italians
in 2018.
Yeah, 2018 almost missed it. So imagine if Italy, with the World Cup, with all the American Italians, and Italy don't qualify to a World Cup. Oh my God, it would be such a heartbreak. They have to qualify. Spalletti, you have to get it done somehow. Mind you, they still got a tough group. Well, I would say just 1 tough opponent. But if they get to that playoff, you know what's kicking in. PTSD.
Dude, can you imagine if like Israel knocked them out?
It could honestly happen. Like,
my God.
Israel actually do have like some history with upsetting the favorites in their group, not doing much. Like they still like trail at the bottom, but I forgot which campaign it was, but I know they upset France when they didn't qualify for one major international tournament. Israel were like the last team they played, and Israel gave them like some kind of upset, if I'm not mistaken. But still, even the Nations League
or in the qualifiers.
What'd you say? Sorry?
Was that in the Nations League or in the qualifiers for Israel against France?
It was in the qualifiers, like a long time ago. A long time ago. But even in the Nations League, we just saw, I know they were in a horrific state at the time and still are a bit iffy, and I still think we should talk about them as well. But beating Belgium in the Nations League on the final day, like there really could be some stories in this group. And even Italy in the last World Cup qualified campaign, they I think it was Bulgaria or I forgot which one, but they were in a group with Bulgaria and Northern Ireland, and one of them pulled
Northern
off a
Ireland.
draw against them to put them below Switzerland. So it really could happen. Like some kind of underdog team could upset them.
Do you think Spalletti is the hottest seat amongst the big teams in Europe right now?
I'd say so, yeah.
I think it's not even close.
Yeah.
I have him. Yeah, the fire department is waiting outside. If Italy don't qualify for 3 consecutive World Cups, they gotta like rebrand as Rome or something. Like we just gotta start again.
Vatican.
We can't be the Vatican. I don't know. Let's get regionalist here. I mean, something has to change. You cannot be Italy with this many good players. This many good players in Serie A. You got Inter in the Champions League final. Again, it cannot happen. I have a stat about Spalletti here. I'm going to read this very quickly. So Italy are ranked 9th in the FIFA rankings. We can say if that's realistic or not. Probably isn't. They're probably closer to 15, something like that. Here's Spalletti's record against the top 25 teams. So again, Italy are 9th. Here's his record against the top 25. 13 games played, 4 wins, 4 draws, 5 losses. 1.2 points per match. In his games against teams that are not in the top 25, 9 games played, 7 wins, 2 draws. He's never lost. 2.6. So he's killing the smaller teams. Venezuela that they played in a friendly. Who else have they played that's not super good? Northern Macedonia, I think he did the double on. But when it comes to beating the best teams, which he had to face at the Euro when he got body bagged by Switzerland, the guy is doing pretty bad. 1.2 points per match with this Italian side. And again, that's just top 25. So that's not even including like top 10. I mean, I'm sure if I narrowed it down to that, I don't think he has a win against a top 10 team. But,
No.
you know, I think Ukraine qualifies in there. I think they are number 25 and he beat them once. The guy really needs to start firing in soon.
Honestly, he needs to perform. I think Italians would agree that the 2018 team, it was sort of at a downfall and they faced Sweden in the playoff. It was bad. I think the North Macedonia was horrific. I mean, just the manner in which they lost at home, but they would have played against Portugal. And I feel like they were going to lose to Portugal anyways. But this team right now have the talent. Spalletti effed up in the summer with his tactical approach and the squad selection. He cannot have any excuses right now. Just don't play Cristante. Don't play Di Lorenzo. Don't play these guys that don't deserve to play in the national team. Play the players that are in form right now. The informed players are the Barellas, the Tonales, and these sort of guys. But I would say he's got a hot seat right now.
Where do we put Roberto Martinez from Portugal?
I think for the qualifier campaign, I think he's safe. I don't think they're stressing too much. I said it earlier that it matters for the international tournaments when it comes to him. He's going to kill in the qualifier campaign. There's no doubt in my mind.
Does.
Yeah. Even with Belgium, he always tore it up. But once the World Cup hits, that's when he'll be in the hot seat for sure.
Yeah, they'll probably have like a plus 13 GD or something.
Yeah.
It always looks really good.
With Fernando Santos, it was a bit iffy for Portugal, but with Roberto Martinez, I mean, the guy is just the GOAT of qualifiers, but a fraud in the major tournaments. That's what he is.
Yeah, but I do have another shout for a manager in a hot seat for a top national team, Rudy Garcia. I think that
okay.
I feel like his overall recent resume isn't the most convincing, and he definitely saved himself in the Nations League playoffs against Ukraine because Ukraine did win the first leg, and he thankfully did come back. Obviously, with his appointment, now Courtois came back and everything, so that's a sigh of relief. But still, some of the Belgian defenders, I don't know if they're the most reliable. And of course, that group, of course, they should be qualifying. But who's to say there won't be some kind of upset? I think Wales right now are looking to be in some solid form. They definitely are looking promising right now. And Macedonia already have that resume of upsetting some top teams.
That's an interesting one. I didn't have him in a tier, but I can see the argument for maybe a chilling in the jacuzzi type thing.
Yeah, I think he's
I don't
fine
know.
now, but after like 1 or 2 results, if things aren't looking too good, like even if it's just like a very small victory against some of these nations, if it's not convincing football, then yeah, questions will be asked for sure quickly.
See, that's the exact same logic for why I have Thomas Tuchel and chilling in the jacuzzi tier 3.
Really?
I think literally because he is a German coaching the English national team, that if he starts playing unconvincing footy, there will be pressure immediately.
Oh yeah.
Oh
English
yeah,
media is like no other.
exactly. That's just English media being idiots. Let's be honest here.
Yeah, well, that's true, but I still think it's pressure. Like, I still think if he struggles with Serbia or did he lose to Greece? Was he in charge or was it the caretaker? It was the caretaker.
It was
right?
the caretaker. Yeah,
caretaker. Okay, thank God. I mean, that would have been cool for the Greeks. But okay, if he drops points and like loses games, I think he already beat Albania and another team in the group.
Latvia, yeah.
Latvia. There we go. I just see a world, again, chilling in the jacuzzi. I do not think he's getting sacked. But if this is a not convincing, if this is a Gareth Southgate-esque campaign, who typically was better in qualifying, even though it wasn't that exciting, I just think they're going to be waiting for any opportunity to sack this man. I think he's going to be a good English manager at the end of the day. I think he will do at least one good thing if given the chance in multiple tournaments. I don't know if it's this next World Cup or the next Euro. I feel like he can do good things for this England squad. But it's one of the hardest jobs in football, maybe the hardest, because you're supposed to win everything and you haven't won anything in 60 years. So by that logic, it's probably the hardest job in football. You're supposed
I think it is the hardest job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody speaks English. English media is the most widely spread throughout the world. I think, yeah, you could say whether it was Thomas Tuchel, whether it was Graham Potter, Eddie Howe, you might just by default be in tier 3 chilling in the jacuzzi if you're English manager. Always.
Eternally, until you win a major tournament.
Yeah. And even then, you're probably safe for like one window, and then you're right back in it. We got to win again. We got to defend the title. You know, you cannot win. You actually cannot win.
No, you can't win with the English media or with the English fans. So I kind of feel bad for Thomas Tuchel. I hope he does something with them because I do rate the manager, even though I didn't like him at Bayern Munich because I felt like he was arrogant. But I think international football kind of suits him where now he takes a break, he reassesses himself, and now we'll see. I think his judgment will come at the World Cup, though. They are not going to be tested in the qualifiers. They were very dominant against Albania. It wasn't the greatest performance, but they still got it done, and they should be beating Serbia. Maybe at home. Away, it could be a little bit difficult because of the atmosphere. I don't think Thomas Tuchel is anywhere near this tier list, but I see your arguments. It's always going to be like that for the English manager.
Okay. Any other names?
Yeah, I have one more name. That is a nation that should be qualifying to this World Cup based on the talent they have, and that's Solbakken with Norway. He's on tier 2 for me. Bordering on tier 1 because he's been the manager for them, I want to say, since 2019 or 2020. And Norwegians have always been in my comments, Michael, Solbakken needs to be sacked. He needs to be sacked. Get this fraud out of here. This is his last opportunity, I think. The fact that they didn't qualify for the last Euros was embarrassing. And now they're going to qualify. They have to qualify for this World Cup. I don't care what he says, what the FA says. They backed him enough. This is his last opportunity. Haaland is getting older. Yes, they're still young players, but they're growing in age. And some point, you need to see Haaland, Ødegaard, Patrick Berg. You need to see all these guys, Reisen from Dortmund, play at a World Cup or play at a Euros. I think Solbakken, if you lose to Italy, fair enough. If you lose in the playoffs, there's no, you don't have anywhere to hide. You have to get out of that playoff and qualify to the World Cup. So I think Norway and Solbakken, they're under immense pressure here. I don't think it's from like football media, but I think from Norwegians specifically, they look at their players and they're like, how do we have guys at Man City and Arsenal and Dortmund and all sorts of clubs, Brentford, balling out? But then when they play for Norway, it's an abysmal performance over and over again, and we're losing to Scotland at home. How is that happening? Now, in 2025, they started off really hot. They won their first 2 games, and I think they got a goal difference of 9. So maybe we're seeing something new with this national team, but they have to continue it. If he can beat Italy in June, That's a good start, and maybe Norway will have to qualify, the confidence to qualify for the World Cup. But I think he's under pressure, though. This is his last opportunity with Norwegian national team and their golden generation.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that pressure is going to stay, even if Norway gets second place and go to that playoff round. Like, that's when it'll really actually intensify, because he's been, I can't remember exactly if he's been there when it happened, but Norway have in recent times been in that playoff round and completely bottled it. So it's really do or die right now for him.
I don't recall Norway's last playoff round. Do you
Ser-
remember who they lost to?
Serbia. Yeah, Serbia.
2020.
Yeah,
Euro
Euro
2020.
I don't think he was the manager then, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, that's why I wanted to stop myself there, because I knew he might have not been. But yeah, still, Holland was emerging into the scene. Then there was still a lot of eyes on Norway to do the job. And it was a 2-round playoff, and they lost in the first round. Serbia bottled it as well, but that's a different story.
So
Nothing new there.
Nothing new there. Not even the Clippers of UEFA. It's the James Harden of UEFA specifically. At least Kawhi's got rings. 2 different teams. So you would put him tier 2 or tier 1?
I would put him at tier 2. I don't think he's crazy hot seat, but it could intensify. If he loses to Italy twice, it could definitely intensify, because I think Norwegians believe now this is their time. You do realize they haven't qualified for a major tournament since Euro 2000. Norway. This team have got a lot of talent, so I don't want to hear no excuses from them. They need to qualify for this World Cup, even through the playoff.
Are they your biggest rival?
Finland? No. Sweden. Russia.
Sweden and Russia?
God forbid I ever see Sweden qualify for another World Cup and do well. Jack, I will always hate you, because you made your nation made me watch Sweden versus Switzerland round of 16 World Cup in St. Petersburg. Live in person, I had to witness that horrific football and seeing Sweden beat Switzerland in the round of 16. L3, you're on my hit list.
Dude, I think we were saying that Italy versus Switzerland was the worst game Italy ever played. I actually think Sweden-Mexico was the worst game I've seen Mexico play. Like,
Yeah,
we
that was
got
terrible for you guys.
torn apart, man.
Yeah.
It was just like, they just looked bigger, faster, stronger. There was nothing we could do. Especially after the Mexico, or the Germany performance, man. I was like, dude, are we going to take 9 from the group? That's what I thought.
Yeah,
And then we got body bagged.
I thought I was gonna finally see Mexico make it to the quarterfinal of a World Cup, and instead I saw Sweden versus Switzerland.
Yeah, and instead of us getting Switzerland, which honestly would have been an amazing game, I'm not even sure we would have won. We get Brazil again, and they beat us 2-0 again, and that's that. That was that, dude. I actually got mad beef with the Swedes because of that. You're unlocking.
Hey, me and you, bro. Me and you.
Holy hell. Okay, so Norway's big rivalry. That's Denmark, I'm assuming.
Sweden
as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Who are the Danes?
Sweden's
Rivals?
number 1.
Germany.
Sweden.
So everybody hates Sweden.
Yeah.
Okay. Where does Iceland come into this? Do they have beef?
They're just a little brother for everybody. They're chill. Okay. We all respect them.
What about like Scotland? Do they have any type of derby with the Nordic team?
No, not really. No. Everyone likes the Scots. I feel like people don't appreciate the English, I would say, footballing wise.
I feel like England-Denmark should be a little something, no?
Well, it was something after that last the Euro in 2021 when Sterling dived. That's when I think now when they were robbed. Now I think if Denmark and England played against each other, the Danes would be like, oh, no, we need to beat these mofos right now after we got screwed over. But do you guys agree that it's now Norway's time to qualify, and if they don't, the manager should be sacked? Solbakken.
Yeah. Dude, how many star players do they have? It's not even like solid players. Like, they have star players on different teams.
On every team,
Good
almost,
teams.
It feels like.
Yeah, I don't know about that defense. I don't know who their back line is. I don't think I could put that together in my head. But the
Christopher Ayer from Brentford, CB, Norwegian. Ryerson, the right back from Dortmund. Newland, the goalkeeper from Sevilla. So, I mean, they got players playing in all the top 5 leagues.
That man might be a fraud. The Sevilla goalkeeper might be a fraud. But I hear you on the others.
Yeah, okay. On the others. Okay. Fair enough. But yeah, I feel like this team have no excuses now. And I think Norwegians, they fully agree with me. I hope, at least.
Right. I mean, they absolutely cannot finish third. That would be disastrous.
I think did they finish third or fourth in the last Euro qualifying group with Scotland, Spain, and Georgia? I think it was either fourth. Might have been. I can't be. I could be wrong.
That's a pretty tough group, to be fair. That sounds
It's
exciting,
very tough.
but still. Fourth, goddamn. Yeah, UEFA can sometimes be like crazy difficult. And then other times you get like, I don't know, some of the groups we read out earlier where it's like, damn, this is cooked. I don't really want to watch this at all. Portugal's gonna dog walk this.